Yeah, I missed a word. My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter. And today we're here with Mr. David Crownson, correct?
Yes, Crownson.
All right. So, Mr. Crownson, if you will, please share with the people who you are and what you do.
My name is David Crownson. I'm a writer and most known for writing and creating Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, which is a comic book series and now a TV show in development. And also a writer and creator of Killer Bee, which just came out, which is also being developed into a feature film that's going to actually shoot later on this year with DeWanda Wise starring in it.
Look, congratulations, number one. So,
Thank you.
if you will, I'm gonna start off with asking you what made you create, or what made you start it right.
What made me start writing or create Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, or
Start
both?
writing first. You can do
Start,
both.
yeah, writing. It's always just been because I started first just as like I wanted to be an actor, and then I wanted to be a cartoonist, but I couldn't draw. But I was good at telling stories, um, and I think I always loved reading, just always loved story. Um, and however I can contribute to that, whether it's through acting or visuals. Um, but sitting down and writing kind of gave me a lot of access because you're when you're a writer, you're creating a world
Mhm.
specifically, and if I'm an actor, I need people to make that happen. Or if I'm a director, like you need people to do that. As a writer, it's like it's you and your imagination, and you and a typewriter, or you and a um it's just you and like a blank piece of paper. So it's you have a lot of access just with you and your imagination and your own creativity. So it started off from that, and I would just do it for fun, but mostly I was focused on just like acting. And then kind of like fell into comic books by accident. Um, when I got the idea for Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, just started off just like as a fun, silly thing, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was going to be because like that specific title, you can do anything with that. Like that could be a video game, that could be an RPG like game that I play with my friends, that could be a movie, that could be. And I don't come from like wealth where I have family members who have millions of dollars and stuff, so I didn't know what to do with it. Um, but I was friends with, I want to say like 2015, like a lot of people in my friend group are all comic book illustrators, and I'm a big fan of comic books my whole life. Dad got me into comic books, and I'm like, wait, like, oh, I'll just make it a comic book. Like, why didn't I think of that? But the comic books are a hard thing in and of itself. They're very expensive. Um, but yeah, that's my very quick origin story.
So, being that, if you will,
Mhm.
share a little bit about how I guess you could say she came about to be the character that you chose, because this is Black History Month,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like yo crazy that you chose Harriet Tubman, the Demon Slayer.
Yeah, man. It started out like it was by accident. Um, I think I was traveling because I think I told you before, like I was an actor,
Mhm.
and I had auditioned for. Um, I auditioned for Star Wars, um, for like the reboot, like not reboot, like the sequel version of
Mhm.
it, and it was John Boyega's part in it, and I got really close. Um, because I had been kind of like auditioning for a lot of like feature films, and because I had done tons of theater in my 20s, so I was getting lots of film and TV auditions in my like late 20s. So auditioned for Star Wars. It's going really good, and then I ended up not getting it, and I was like devastated. I probably should have just been grateful that I had an audition for Star Wars. Like that should I should have gratitude for it, but it's like I had so much, all my eggs in that basket. So my family is originally from Ghana, West Africa.
Okay.
So I think my mom was like,
Blessings.
"Hey, yeah, yeah, man." My mom was like, "Hey, if you don't get," because I think I was auditioning for Star Wars, I was auditioning for Orange is the New Black, and I was auditioning for some other big TV show. So it was all these three projects all happening at the same time, and it was like really tough on my nervous system, constantly auditioning for like big things. So my mom was like, if you don't get any of these, I think you need to go on a mini retreat. I think you should come live with us in Ghana and take a break from being in America. So I was like, yo, whatever, mom, you being a hater and all this other stuff. Um, but I ended up not obviously I ended up not getting either of them. I think Star Wars I found out like late that I didn't get it. And I think it came down to like myself and which again, another thing to be really grateful for. It came down to me and two other big people. Um, so I'm all depressed and I was like, I'll go to Africa and all this other stuff, just crying and shit. Um, so while I was there, man, also I think everyone should move or travel or stay in Ghana, West Africa for a bit, take a break if you need to or if you can. I stay with my mom and my stepfather. And while I was there, man, there was a documentary about Harriet Tubman that was playing, and Harriet Tubman is like hugely celebrated in Ghana because they traced her roots back to Ghana. So um, I'm watching this documentary about Harriet Tubman. This is the blackest sentence in the world. I was like eating fried chicken and watching a Harriet Tubman documentary, like blackest sentence ever uttered.
Now,
And
hold on, I want to stop you right there. Look, just other people eat fried chicken too. They just dumped it on us like we the only ones to eat this stuff. Look,
I
but go
mean,
ahead.
I mean, I think that's some of the best fried chicken I have ever had in my life was in Ghana, West Africa. I don't know what they put it in, but damn, um, so good. But yeah, man. So every I think February or March they just play this Harriet Tubman documentary 24/7. Um, and I think even more so to this day they celebrate Harriet Tubman more in Ghana than they do in America.
Hmm.
So watching this documentary, as soon as it ends, I'm channel surfing and I end up on Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like the ending of it. And there's like a katana fight scene in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So watching that, and then that movie ends, and I want to say this other movie came on called Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, and I was like, oh shit, I want to watch this because I meant to watch it while I was in America, but I was like, I had like leave and I was traveling, so I watched the movie. It's a terrible movie. It's really bad. Um, like no disrespect to because it is hard to make stuff. It is hard to make a thing. So I was like, that was because it just felt like I don't know. My biggest thing is if you make a thing, you should go for the big swings, or you should take advantage of all of the like the opportunities of making this thing. And they didn't do that. So I was like, man, that movie like sucked. So I think I was like journaling or something like that, and I was just writing down like a stream of conscious like my time being in Ghana, West Africa, and I'm just journaling, and these three things kind of stand out. Three things that stand out are Harriet Tubman, katana fight scene, and witch hunters. And I was like, wait, Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. What if Harriet Tubman knows martial arts and beats up a racist werewolf with like the choreography of Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon? I don't know. And that's how it started. And then I think I saw again, my instinct wasn't to go, oh, I'll make it a comic book immediately. My instinct was like, that's just a cool setting for um like a story. And then I just kind of thought like, man, because you can say so many things about Harriet Tubman, Um, and she said she's already, and I thought about like, because everyone thinks that I just like watched Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and just did that. And I was like, no, I to this day I still haven't seen or read Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And Harriet Tubman is just a much more compelling figure to me
Mhm.
than Abraham Lincoln. Like no disrespect. Um, so I think when I got back into America, I saw a book um, by Brian Michael Bendis called Words for Pictures, and it's a how to write comic books book. Brian Michael Bendis is my favorite comic book writer. So I was like, wait a minute, that's it. I'll make it a comic book. And so I spent like, I got the book, learned how to write comic scripts on it, and then spent like a year uh, doing research on Harriet Tubman, and then trying to figure out how to blend the genre elements of like vampires. And then I figured out, okay, this is the tone of what the story is going to be. It's going to be Django Unchained, like the grindhouse action of Django Unchained with slavery and that time period, and the catharsis of Django Unchained. And we're going to mix it in with the world building of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where werewolves, vampires, witches, werewolves all exist. And we're
Mhm.
going to ground it in Harriet Tubman's true life story and kind of just see her biography, her life story through that lens.
Mhm.
Um, Only because like I love my comic book and love the stuff that we've done, but like her life is like if I just did a book just on Harriet Tubman, her life is already compelling and like also like an action espionage story. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of like how I started it, and it still was really hard because comic books are really expensive. And again, I said before, I can't draw, so I had to have like a team of people, and I just believe in most of the artists are like Cortland Ellis and Stephen Harris, Nicholas Shaper Ivey. These are all
Shout
black
out to
men,
them.
so I want to pay this team to draw my script. So like did Kickstarter, and I was terrified of doing Kickstarter because like I had just seen people who have big followings like fail at it. And I was like, like a nobody. Like I think I was working at a promotional pet data entry factory where I would input data for like dog tags and shit. So I'm like a nobody starting a Kickstarter. Um, but yeah, like I'm really grateful that this was like post Donald Trump 2016 winning the election. So I think there was a hunger. One of my friends, Alex, um, I think she was like, David, you got to make this comic book. So I told her
Mhm.
about like things that I had going on. Alex Marshall Brown, great actress, and she's a stunt double as well. Um, I think when Donald Trump won in 2016, we were just like, holy shit, I can't believe this happened. And she was kind of, she called me, and we were just talking on the phone. And she's like, hey, like, what other projects do you have going on? And I was like, oh, I have this thing called Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, but like, it's really hard to raise money. And like, I want to pay my team and it's a lot of work. I don't think I can do it. So I'm gonna put that on the back burner. And she was like, wait, yeah, am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, she was like, listen, motherfucker, you making this shit. I was like, what? He's like, Alex, like, chill. She was like, listen, nigga, I need to see a black woman kicking ass right now because
Mhm.
the world is scary. You gotta get with this. I'm like, all right. So I still wasn't gonna do it, but then I think I had just moved back to Jersey, and there was like in my area in New Jersey, there was like a hate crime that happened in like three different counties. I was like, oh no, like so this needs to. I just the way it was being covered, it just felt. I just felt helpless, and I felt that this comic book was also just a catharsis. And I think I wrote this thing on my wall. I was like, I'm creating this to scare racists and make black people feel good,
Mm.
and that was that. And yeah, and then we
So
did go ahead.
one before you jump into Kickstarter, one,
Hmm.
I want to thank you.
Oh,
I
nice, man.
want to thank you for highlighting Black history because you're from Ghana or your
Oh,
parents
oh,
from Ghana.
yeah, my parents are from Ghana. I'm born and raised in Jersey, but I
Okay.
claim Ghana.
So I want to thank you because I want to thank the Ghanaian people for highlighting Black history because that also pivoted you. Well, thank your mama for telling you to come home after that. So while you being there, I like to say God used everything as a pivot point to shift people's lives, and you not getting that part shifted you to go to Ghana to sit there and watch Harriet Tubman for 24 hours consistently, only to get
Yeah,
you here where you are at now. But I thank the Ghanaian people for highlighting Black history.
yeah, man. Because I think like back in around that time, man, like back in America, there was like a couple of Harriet Tubman, like this is before like the movie with Cynthia Erivo came out, but there was like a few like PBS made for TV movie Harriet Tubman movies that came out in the 70s and
Mm-hmm.
early 90s with like Cicely Tyson as Harriet Tubman. But it's like, you could they only play it at like 11 o'clock at night. um Very hard to catch. So so there was that. Um, but yeah, but I'm really grateful for it. Even though I know I said, I was like, oh, my mom's hating on me and all that stuff, but like I'm glad that that happened. And even like, you know, I think I was talking to like my manager about this. He's like, hey, like, would you have still created Harriet Tubman, if you had booked Star Wars? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what my life would have been. At first, I was thinking about like, you're a pilot, you're a part of this big iconic, um,
Yes.
franchise. But I think it was my brother. My brother said this to me. Uh, I think I was making a comic book and I was having like a lot of rough roads making the comic book. Like there are great years and there's like lean years when you're making a comic book, especially with resources and you deal with racism and all that stuff all the time. But like my brother was like, you got to be a part of someone else's franchise, or you can just create your own franchise.
Very true.
Um,
Mm.
you can just be um, a paint a color on some other billion-dollar thing that you don't have any ownership or stake in, or you could own the canvas and do that. And at the time, because I was like putting all my money into the comp, but I was like, "When you grow, I'll be a color in this." But he's like, "No, man. I think I'm glad you didn't get the part. I'm happier that you're doing this instead, um, because it'll be tough and hard, but you'll get to where you need to get to."
And before you go to the Kickstarter, this is what the reason why I do this is because there's stories like yours that need to be highlighted. This part, everybody see the butterfly. We see you. We see how it didn't got major success. But what we don't know is the caterpillar story. The story of you not being able to get a job. I mean, get the part, and you was shooting for three major parts, having to go over to Ghana, sitting in Ghana, and now catching the idea, coming back here, having to put your money into this project, having your brother, having a friend like what's her name, Alex, what's her
Alex,
name,
yeah, Alex Marshall
Alex,
Brown.
having somebody like these people that say you got to do this, and now what a lot of people get to do is invest in you. They get to look at what God has called you to do. This is historical. You're living history. What I mean, during a time period between 2012 and now, there's living history being created there. In the next 50 years, they'll be talking about you. They'll be speaking about this comic book. This will be like Marvel or Black Panther back then, but you're also getting to see that your stuff is about to be created into uh whether it's what you say, a TV series or a movie or something, but it's about to get pushed to the next level. For that,
Hmm.
I'm grateful. And one, I'm grateful that you took the time to give me this opportunity during Black History Month to talk about you, what you created, and how Ghana highlights Harriet Tubman. You got to remember, we don't know this. I'm African American, and for me, that just pushed my my visibility of how the connection has to be made even more with our people and as a whole, with the diasporic and then the actual natives of Africa too. How we all got to learn to pull this thing together. But I ain't gonna talk too much more. Go into tell me about Kickstarter.
Well, thank you for saying all that, man. Damn, I didn't think of it like that, but I will let that resonate because I think, yeah, man. Again, this is not easy. But I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. Now, but Kickstarter, um, I think I messaged Cortland, who drew the famous cover for Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. I think like it was the day Trump won, and I saw the hate crime stuff happen, and I just said, "Hey man, we're doing this Kickstarter," and he was like, "Done." And then he got kind of scared because he was like, "How much money are you asking for the Kickstarter?" And I was only going to ask for maybe like 5 grand. I'm like, okay, like I'll just do the first issue. That's how much it'll cost. Like 3,000 to pay him to do the first issue, and then it'll probably cost like 2 grand to print and publish the book. And I was talking with a friend of mine, my friend Kim, um, and she had just taken a Kickstarter class. And one of like the red flags they say is to
Ask for low
never
money.
don't ask for like a low amount because it's like I think when she was giving me all of her notes from her Kickstarter class, she had said like, usually 5,000 or 6,000. People don't get really like excited about that because you can borrow 5,000 or 6,000 from somebody and like just get it done because people are drawn to urgency. And I got kind of bad when she said all that shit. I was like, all right, Negro, what's good? I was like, what's good? Like you give me $5,000 and you talk that shit. But she's like, no, I think you should ask for 15,000 because it's not like a crazy number, but it's still in the realm of like
Mhm.
possibility of like you can't just borrow 15,000. At least all of us don't have like access to like $15,000 that we can just borrow from someone easily. Um, so having a group and contributing with the group, it'll lead to that. So I did that. I know Cortland was really nervous about it at first because again, this is my first time doing this. I have no idea what I'm doing, right? And we ended up raising. The goal was 15,000, and we ended up raising like a little over $21,000.
Shout out to
And
Kickstarter. And
yes,
I actually shout out to Everett, who is the CEO now.
oh yes,
Uh this is Black History Month, so big up to Everett. He a young black man from Richmond, Virginia. I actually know him. Shout
oh
out to
really?
Everett.
Awesome, man. I know you knew Everett. What's it called? Yeah, yeah. Tell him to. I'm about to deliver my Kickstarter, my other Kickstarter next month. Tell him to hook a brother up with some deals. Yeah, man. We ended up. It was really tough and hard because even like you raise the money, and then it's like, okay, now you have to make the thing now, and you've essentially put your money where your mouth is, so it has to be good. And in this space, I think a lot of people are they pay attention to black people a lot. They don't outright say it, but I sometimes feel like when it's a black project or a black produced project and you're doing a thing that you're not all white people, but when some white
Yeah.
people are watching it, it's like, when's this nigga gonna fail? Or when am I gonna catch? So it's like everything has to be like perfect. Um, Obviously, like there's gonna be mistakes because I don't know what I'm doing. Not and I'm not like not that I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm learning as I'm going. Like
Yes.
like
Yes.
I
Yes.
haven't gone to school for this. I haven't. It is unfortunately it's a learn as you go
And it's a first
business.
project.
Yeah, and it's like the first project. So like, and also every Kickstarter, every project changes. Like I think every Kickstarter I do gets harder with each one for various different reasons. Like I think the first Kickstarter I have no idea what I'm doing. Second Kickstarter, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing, but then I do the Kickstarter during a busy, crazy time. Like
Mhm.
I do it during the time where the internet is paying attention to. I think the second Kickstarter I did for Harriet Volume for the graphic novel, I did it during like Avengers Endgame coming out and the final four episodes of Game of Thrones.
Mm.
Terrible time to do a Kickstarter, and so just fighting for internet like attention was really rough. And then I want to say and then pandemic stuff happens. So it's like delivering the prize takes like over 2 years. Actually, no, it's that Kickstarter was in 2019. I didn't deliver the the books until like 2022 because of like the pandemic. Um, and then I think the latest Kickstarter that I did like in 2022, 2023, the artist who is brilliant, but this man is insanely slow at
Mm.
drawing, and it sucks. Like I hate that he is so slow at drawing. So it's like um there's always something. Like every Kickstarter will require and need something new. But I feel good about my fourth Kickstarter because I'm like, I'm not gonna do it until the book is completely done. Like there's a
Okay.
finished PDF of it, and all I just need the money for is just to print and ship the thing. So there's that. But yeah, man, I really think um what's it called? I really think that Kickstarter, as long as you have like now it's a lot better because there's more time to prep.
Mhm.
There's more time to get people to know about your Kickstarter. Um, I think it's mostly great for doing it as a commercial for your project and to make some money off of your project. And also, it's really to me just a great tool because it's I think back in the 80s and 90s, a lot of great things would die
Mhm.
because they either didn't have the financial infrastructure, um, or people had the infrastructure, but they were like too embarrassed to like ask for help. Like
Mhm.
I remember I got like really frustrated with that Milestone documentary, and they were talking about how much money they made, but they were kind of like having a tough time because they were under the umbrella of DC, and DC wasn't giving them a lot of money to produce product. They had like some of like the number one comic books with like Static and Icon, but they didn't have a lot of financial backing because your shipping and handling gets ate up, your marketing gets ate up, and then you don't have enough money to operate. And I was like, yo, y'all know Shaquille O'Neal, y'all know all these basketball niggas who are
They
nerds.
didn't ask for the bread.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, so it's like real white. And all these rappers like Easy, he's a big comic book nerd.
Didn't
And
ask for no
it's
money.
like, how come y'all didn't ask them to become like investors? And they were like, well, we were just too proud and like embarrassed to to ask. And I was like, no, like, um, and that's a thing with Kickstarter that someone told Kimberly Dalton Mitchell. Um, oh wait, Kim is now married. Everyone, Kimberly Chalk, excuse me, to her husband. She said something to me. She's like, vulnerability is contagious.
Yeah.
Passion and vulnerability matters. And her husband, Chris Chalk, is an actor, and he was telling a story about like Spike Lee, who was like he says, I started a Kickstarter before there was a Kickstarter. And, Spike Lee talked about making Malcolm X and how he only had, and it was going to be a really expensive movie to make. And so the movie was probably not going to happen because I think
Right.
they had Norman Jewison, who was his white director, who was going to direct it. And Spike Lee was like, this movie should only happen if a black man is directing it. So Norman Jewison backed out of it. Spike Lee took over with Denzel, but then Norman Jewison left with his financing money because I
Mm.
think I think he was a little bit bitter about Spike Lee taking over. So, and this is like Denzel had just won an Oscar, so you would think, oh, people will give money to it. And they're like, we're not giving you guys any money. So Spike Lee, people shit on Spike Lee all the time, and they call
Mhm.
him arrogant. But this is a very vulnerable thing to do. Spike Lee calls Michael Jordan, calls
Right.
Oprah, calls Eddie Murphy, calls Michael Jackson, calls Prince, and is just being very vulnerable and honest about what's happening with him. And these people start giving him money, knowing they probably won't get the money back. And it was something for the culture, and good on them. And my favorite part of that story is like he called Michael Jordan, called all the basketball players and said like how much each other gave so they can all try and like one up each other because
Hmm.
everyone's competitive and shit. Um, but that's like a really vulnerable thing. Like imagine if he was like, yo, fuck that shit. I ain't gonna ask for no money and just was like, then we wouldn't have this amazing thing.
We wouldn't have that movie right now.
Like
So
takes a village. It takes a village.
I wanna before we go, hate to cut it short, but
You're good.
I want to ask you to do something for me. Give me a word of wisdom for anybody who may be starting something who don't know what to do. Give me a word of wisdom, and then let them know everywhere they can get your comic books, man.
Word of wisdom. Um, hmm. Let's see. I think make sure you surround yourself with people who are team you, who are team whatever your project or whatever thing you're trying to create. Because yeah, this is hard. This is hard because there's going to be great days. I'm grateful for some great days I've experienced, but there's going to be really do assessment of who is there when you have fallen, broken your nose, and it looks like nothing's happening. Um, because there's those are where the real people are. Like really do an assessment of who was there during my rock bottom days. Because like it's easy to be friends, when someone's like, I mentioned Michael Jackson. It's easy to be friends with Michael Jackson during the Thriller era. It's easy to be friends with Michael Jackson during bad era.
But what
It,
about when you
it,
go into court?
yeah, when he go into court, it's like going to court, and then he's late, showing up dressed like Captain Crunch and shit. Um, like not and like, we know now the allegations ain't true, but it like everyone leaves. Oprah leaves. All these people leave. But like, who is like there? Hey, he's losing $100 million. Michael Jackson was going to have a fighting game, which I think is hilarious. Um, where he was going to be in Mortal Kombat in the Smooth Criminal Moonwalker shit. That would have been great. Lost hundreds of millions of dollars, and like nobody was there except for like Janet and his mom, and like his brothers are all there. But none of his friends are there. So it's like that's when you find out again who's for real. So do an assessment, um, find out who's really for you, rock with them. If you're creating stuff, if you're writing stuff, try to do it every day or every other day, even when you don't feel like it, because it's like a muscle, and you gotta treat it like the gym. Those are my words of wisdom.
And where can they find your books?
You can find my book at www.kingwoodcomics.com. It's in bookstores, comic book shops nationwide, but go to my website because I get money faster. And and
Maybe
I
get a
have Harriet
sign.
Tubman Demon Slayer hoodies and T-shirts on my website as well.
So I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I thank you for sharing the history because that is important to me. Your whole story has been elevating from an author to an author. I understand the whole scenario. So uh, I'm grateful for your story.
Thank you, man. Thank you for letting me share it. Thank you for being patient with me and all this other stuff.
Man, don't worry about that. Look, my name is Carlos Walker. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter, and this is Mr. David Krause. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Thank you.